that made
June 7, 1967. An Israeli paratrooper climbs to the top of the Dome of the Rock and raises his nation's flag over Islam's third holiest site. Through binoculars, Defense Minister Moshe Dayan watches in horror and radios one word: remove it. But while the world focused on that flag, scientists were studying what was directly beneath it, a stone with a carved depression that matches something from the Bible with terrifying accuracy. Before we continue, please take a moment to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more archaeological and biblical prophecy discoveries from the Holy Land. The Dome of the Rock sits on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. For 1.8 billion Muslims, that's 24% of everyone on Earth, this is one of their most sacred places. But here's where it gets complicated. For Jewish people, this exact spot is the most important location in their entire faith. Not one of the important places, the only one that matters most. And neither side can compromise. Because underneath that golden dome is a rock, not just any rock, the foundation stone. Jews believe this is where Abraham prepared to sacrifice Isaac. Muslims say it was Ishmael, not Isaac. That difference isn't small, it's everything. Today, if you're Jewish, you cannot enter the Dome of the Rock. You can't touch the stone. You can't even get close. Armed guards make sure of that. But why? What makes this particular rock worth guarding with weapons? Let's go back to that moment in 1967. The Six-Day War had just started. Israel was fighting Egypt, Jordan, and Syria all at once. Nobody thought Israel would survive, let alone win. But on June 6th at 2 a.m., Israeli paratroopers led by Colonel Mata Gur crossed into enemy territory. They fought hand-to-hand in trenches. Soldiers died in the narrow alleys of Old Jerusalem. By morning on June 7th, they'd done the impossible. They'd reached the Temple Mount. Gur radioed headquarters with words that shook the world. The Temple Mount is in our hands. His communication officer, Ezra Orni, pulled an Israeli flag from his pouch. He climbed onto the Dome of the Rock and attached it to a pole topped with an Islamic crescent. For a few minutes, Israel's flag flew over the dome. Then Dayan's order came through. Take it down, now. One soldier couldn't bear to lower it himself. He ordered someone else to do it. Think about that. After 2,000 years of exile, Jews had recaptured their holiest site and immediately gave up control. But what if they hadn't? What if Israel had demolished the dome that day and discovered what was underneath? Here's what most people don't know. That rock beneath the dome isn't natural anymore. It's been cut, carved, and altered by Romans, Christians, and Muslims over 2,000 years. During the Crusades, Christians covered it with marble slabs and built an altar on top. When Muslims recaptured Jerusalem, Sultan Saladin ordered everything demolished. Crusaders even chiseled off pieces and shipped them to Constantinople and Italy as souvenirs. But in the 1970s, a scholar named Leen Ritmeyer started studying old photographs and measurements. He wanted to see what the rock looked like originally before everyone started cutting it up. What he found made him freeze. There's a depression carved into the stone. It measures exactly 2.5 cubits by 2 cubits. A cubit is an ancient measurement, the length from your elbow to your fingertips plus 4 fingers. The royal cubit used in Solomon's temple was 20.67 inches. Now here's where your spine should tingle. The Ark of the Covenant, according to the Bible, measured 2.5 cubits by 1.5 cubits. Almost a perfect match, but not quite. So why is the depression 2 cubits wide instead of 1.5? Why that extra half cubit of space? Ritmeyer found the answer in Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 26. The Torah says that the book of Deuteronomy, the actual scroll, was placed next to the Ark of the Covenant, not on it, next to it. That extra space wasn't a mistake, it was intentional. The scroll needed somewhere to rest that wouldn't let it roll down the mountain. Think about what this means. If Ritmeyer is right, you could walk into the Dome of the Rock today and stand at the exact spot where the Ark of the Covenant sat for over 400 years, the holiest object in Jewish history, the box that held the Ten Commandments, the place where God's presence dwelt on earth. Ritmeyer created drawings showing where Solomon's temple would have stood compared to the dome today. The rock wouldn't be in the center of the temple. It would have been inside the Holy of Holies, the inner sanctum where only the high priest could enter, and only once a year. One wrong step meant instant death. But here's the thing nobody talks about. The rock itself isn't the only discovery, because underneath that stone, there's something even shocking. A cave, then possibly one below that. Before we go underground, you need to understand why this place is actually a powder keg. Jews believe Abraham brought Isaac here to sacrifice him. God stopped it at the last second and provided a ram instead. Isaac became the father of Jacob, who became Israel. The whole Jewish nation traces back to this moment on this rock. Muslims believe it was Ishmael, not Isaac. Ishmael was Abraham's older son, born to his servant Hagar. And here's the critical part. The Quran doesn't actually specify which son. It's an oral tradition. But try telling that to 1.8 billion people. This isn't a detail. It's the foundation of everything. Abraham had other sons too. After Sarah died, he married Keturah and had 6 more. You can be a descendant of Abraham and not be part of the promise. That distinction matters because what's hidden in the caves below could prove one side right and destroy the other's entire claim to this mountain. And someone might have already found it. Directly beneath the foundation stone is a cave called the Well of Souls. If you're Muslim, you can go inside and pray there. If you're not, you'll probably never see it in person. In 2015, they decided to replace the carpet. Workers rolled it up, and photographs leaked online. Under that carpet was an intricately decorated floor, geometric patterns, ancient stonework, beautiful, mysterious, and almost nothing is known about who built it or when. During the Crusades, Christians called this cave the Holy of Holies. They believed the archangel announced John the Baptist's birth here. But that doesn't match Jewish history at all. Sir Richard Francis Burton, the famous explorer, had a different theory. He said this cave was designed to collect blood. When priests sprinkled blood on the ark above, it would drip through cracks, flow into this cave, and channel out to the Hinnom Valley. Sounds reasonable, except there's one problem Burton himself noted. In the center of the cave floor, there's a sealed opening. And according to some researchers, that opening leads to another chamber that's never been officially explored, a chamber that might still contain something. A scholar named Amrit Pirati spent years studying the Temple Mount's underground structure. He created drawings showing a network of tunnels, chambers, and passages that most people have never heard of. He claims there's a cave beneath the Cave of Souls, and he says he accessed it through a secret tunnel. Here's where it gets biblical. Jewish tradition teaches that King Solomon knew through divine inspiration that his temple would eventually be destroyed. So when he built it, he didn't just build up, he built down. Solomon constructed a massive labyrinth underneath the Temple Mount, mazes, chambers, corridors, and one special hiding place for the most sacred objects. About 40 years before the first temple was destroyed, King Josiah gave an order to the Levites: hide the ark, hide the original menorah, hide the sacred vessels, put them in Solomon's secret chamber where no invading army will ever find them. And according to Jewish tradition, that's exactly what they did. The ark never left Jerusalem. It went down, deep underground, and it's been sitting there untouched for 2,600 years. But does anyone know where? The Temple Institute in Jerusalem makes a stunning claim. They say they have records showing exactly where the chamber is located. They know the ark is still there, undisturbed, waiting. A few years ago, someone attempted to excavate toward that chamber. Within hours, riots erupted. Muslims flooded the Temple Mount. Violence spread across Jerusalem. The dig stopped immediately. Why such an extreme reaction? Because the Islamic Waqf, the organization that controls the Temple Mount, has an official position. There never was a Jewish temple here. None of this history is real. Jews have no claim to this site whatsoever. Now imagine what happens if someone pulls the Ark of the Covenant out of the ground live on camera with the whole world watching. Every archaeology book gets rewritten. Every political argument collapses. The proof becomes undeniable. But there's a darker problem nobody wants to say out loud. In the Bible, when someone unclean touched the Ark, they died instantly. Not as punishment, it just happened. The power was that absolute. So what happens if someone finds it today? What happens to the first person who breaks that seal after 2,600 years? Who decides if they're clean enough to survive? And there's the bigger issue. The Dome of the Rock is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It belongs to 1.8 billion Muslims. If Israel even attempts an excavation, the entire world turns against them. So the Ark might be sitting 60 feet below Jerusalem right now, in a chamber that Solomon built, waiting in the dark. And the only thing stopping anyone from reaching it is the fear of what comes next.